It's like that skit from whatchamacallit, where it says, "Why I look like hopping, stuffing my feet on someone's couch." I got more respect than that. Yeah, I remember several news. This is how it is in the world. When people be like, "Yo, I don't want to follow religion," but then through science try to prove religion wrong. Had they like, I'm just reading what the Apocrypha. I just read that on the Shabbat and got a quick lesson from the teachers. So you gotta humble yourself. Even though you may know, we still gotta humble to get more answers. But either way, through the lesson, they pointed out the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, 23. Really, it was like 13 through 20 or 19, but I just finished off a chapter. But it states that Creator, 23 states that Creator made man to be immortal. Hold up, I might get this done right now. Give me 1 second. So, it states that 24, exactly, and then, yeah, that's what it was. I believe 13 through 19 was just describing how Christ, Yahushua, will suffer because man was trying to see if he was everything that the prophet said he would want that he would be. But it said in 22, I believe. Yeah, well, 19 says, "Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. As for the mysteries of Creator, they knew them not, neither hope they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For Creator created man to be immortal." Creator, verse 23. For God, Creator, created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of thy own eternity. But what? 24. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil, the evil ones, came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side and do find it. So people be like, I deny religion, I deny this, but then the very thing that science is proven, you'll find in the scriptures. And even though this is like the King James, this only came out in the 14th century, a little bit before, maybe a little after, 16, maybe, I don't know. But either way, King James translation, this was already in there before the translation. So everything your science is now today, just now, or back in the early thousands, or even late 90s, everything that science is, well, actually, I won't say that because it was people back in the 80s or 1800s, or I can relate to Tesla. Listen to one of his videos. But either way, today modern science is just now improving or talking about how man has infinite possibility. That's why through science they're supposedly trying to advance you. But if you look at the whole Adam and Eve story, that makes, like it says, Creator was the master builder. That was the purpose of staying in the garden. To, like I said, the Satanists is going to sit here and say, well, we got the devil was going to give you, as it says, Adam and Eve. The devil was going to give you what God wasn't. That's what the snake said to Eve, that God is going to forbid you from this. Yes, you're supposed to be, until it's like going through the degrees. Until you master this level, how you going to go to the master level? You got to first learn to walk, learn to talk, proper way of functioning, basically the Torah, in a sense. See, it all comes back to the Torah. You got to first master the Torah. Then you can start getting this. Once you prove yourself worthy, I mean, you live for 1,000 in the prove immortality. If you look at Adam lives like 900 years, and then after generation, they start dying younger. 700 years, 800, 800 years, 700 years, 600 years, 500 years. So you see, you were deceived. If you did not touch that knowledge, you would never get kicked out of the garden. Therefore, you instead of eating the godly food as you see the elves eating on Lord of the Rings, how long did the elves live for? A thousand years is a mere blink in the eyes of an elf. So that's what the type of food you were eating in the garden. When you were expelled from the garden, you started eating all the flesh. So how can death give life? So in the garden, you were given that Ito diet that the Rasta man talks about, where just the people who seek enlightenment. But you were eating that Ito diet of natural organic food, therefore prolonging your life. When you get kicked out of the garden, you started dying, pulling yourself down to a lower state. And you see that through the bloodline, started dying at younger ages. So the very thing the devil said you wouldn't have got, you would have got. And now today in modern science, they're trying to, instead of allowing you through the government to teach you the right way of living, to master yourself, they're supposedly changing you and advancing you illegitimately. They're doing all this modification of your DNA. What's it called? Computer merging with the flesh. They gotta do all this. They gotta do all this. It's been over 2,000 plus years. I'm gonna even say 400,000 years, millions of years. It's been all these years. You still haven't done what you're supposed to do to now. So now they're trying to sit here and do all this extraordinary stuff through science. And in reality, you still ain't going to be on the level where you're supposed to be, because you're going to be controlled by your machine. That's not organic. But liberation, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people rejecting the scriptures and then turn around and say, oh, well, science ain't proved nothing. This is all in the scriptures. That's what they say. The science, geometry, and all that stuff, astrology, astronomy, that's what basically compiles the scriptures when you get into the deeper teachings. But people don't take the time to read it, so they get lost. But when you do something like that, it's like the Charlie Murphy, the Rick James statement. Well, I look like stomping my foot on someone's couch. I got more sense than that. Yeah, I remember stomping my foot on, whatchamacallit's couch. It's the same difference. Liberation, man.